Welcome into the Fan Speak Network. I am your host, Justin Bruni. Joining me is my co-host and partner, Mr. Andrew, the TD King, Raub. Happy Friday Eve, sir. How we doing?
Yes, sir. Ready to talk some best ball, man. It's been a while for us, but back in the saddles again, ready for BBM5. I know you and I have both been doing some drafts, so we got some talking to do, man. Let's get into it.
Yeah, man, absolutely. Best ball summer is here. We're going to be here all summer long on the Fan Speak Network. Got a lot of good things cooking up for our audiences this summer. Tonight, we're going to be breaking into a rookie ADP review, and we'll also be getting the live chat rolling. So anyone that's looking to jump into the friends and family chat, stick around. We're going to go through the top 10 rookie ADPs to lead off the show, and then we'll break into some live draft action. And of course, if you are willing to stick it through with us, we're going to review your team, break down the draft board, see if there was any opportunities that we missed or opportunities we failed to leverage. So very excited to get everything going tonight. We got ABD fellas. Jake Will is in the chat. Appreciate you jumping in, sir. Be sure to stick around for the live draft. Andrew, we're talking rookies out of the gate here. What's your thoughts on some of this early rookie ADP? Has anyone stood out for you? Are you drafting a lot of rookies right now?
I mean, probably more or less in the mid to late rounds than up top. In BBM, I haven't taken like any Marvin Harrison, no Malik Nabers, nothing like that. I have dabbled with them in the Chihuahuas, some of the lesser contest. I think it's a good way to kind of sharpen the iron for BBM, right? Try some drafts, try some different techniques and strategies, and then kind of take it from there. But yeah, man, these rookies are interesting. Some of them are creeping up the board, some are falling down. So I think that's something that we definitely need to point out when talking to these guys on if we're if it's a good time to take them now or if we should wait a little bit and maybe start to look at them in June and July.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm in the boat of waiting on more value. That's for certain. I have not drafted many. Oddly enough, being the Bears fan that I am, I think I have at most two shares of Caleb Williams. That's about it. And of course, one of my other shares of a rookie is one share of Odunze in a top to bottom Bears build. So I as well not drafting a lot of rookies yet, but I think that we have the game plan for how to attack these guys once that value does come. So we are going to jump into the conversation here. We're going to bring up some of our presentation notes here. Give me one moment to get this up on the board. So we're going to be going through the top 10 ADPs. It doesn't mean we're going to touch on everybody. There are going to be some players that are, potentially snubbed from the conversation, we'll say, but we'll definitely throw them into the conversation via the live draft. So just breaking it out right off the top here, Marvin Harrison Jr. is coming off the board as wide receiver 9 as a rookie, coming off the board, pick 13, round 1, round 2 swing. What are your thoughts on him in this situation, being the number 1 receiver in Arizona, at least on paper and absolutely according to Underdog ADP right now?
Yeah, so before we get into it, shout out to friends of the podcast, Indiana Jones, checking in, says, can I nominate Check Yes Juliet as the new theme song? I'm going to nix that straight out of the gate. This is not a Taylor Swift pod by any means. So negative, Ghost Rider. Also, friend of the program and a friend of ours, Jake Paquin. Shout out Merch God for SGPN. I said, what's up, fellas? We'll try to hop in next time running around so I don't need to auto draft my first. He's lucky enough because he is from Michigan and Underdog now live in Michigan. So if you haven't already signed up and you're in Michigan, use promo code FANSPEAK for up to $250 in bonus credits. Is that right?
They have just increased the bonus to $250, meaning you can get up to $500 with a $250 deposit. That's a lot of BBMs. That's a lot of that's what, 20? Is that right? Does that check out?
No. Eight would be 200, so it'd be 10. They're big guy. $25 a piece. 250.
No, 500. No.
Oh, you're saying
the full match.
Right. You right.
Nailed it.
So Marvin Harrison, little rich for my blood at 13. I'm not saying to fade him. I just don't think that, I don't think he's going to go up. If anything, he's going to go down or stay put. So I'll wait to take some Marvin Harrison. He's a good player. I think he's going to get a ton of targets there, but damn, it is a rich ADP, for me anyway. How do you feel about that?
No, I agree. When you're looking at the names around him, I've got the board pulled up here. This is a draft from 2 days ago, 5/7/24. You're seeing him go at pick 13, and I just love the players coming off the board behind him, specifically players that were, round one picks last year, like a Saquon Barkley, like a Devontae Adams. I still love Drake London this season. I've been getting a lot of Falcon builds, sometimes missing one player over another, but I'm liking that offense. It's very affordable. Kirk Cousins, a very affordable cheap end or back end stack, I should say. So I just like a lot of the other players around this space. And I think that you can do a lot of different unique builds actually avoiding Marvin Harrison Jr. Unfortunately, I don't think he's going to fall that much lower on the board. I don't think we're going to see him get out of round two. All the players around him, like Nico Collins, DJ Moore, they're kind of like in split offenses for potential touches. Stephon Diggs, Keenan Allen coming over to the Bears, and obviously you see Stephon Diggs go right after DJ Moore. So I just feel like he's probably going to stay in that range, like that 14 to 17 range, but I still want to wait on a little bit of better value to see how the back end of the first round and beginning of the second round continue to shake up. I've done some AJ Brown and Saquon Barkley here a few times when I've been lucky. Drake London and Bijan, so you can get some top stacks at the beginning of this a board here without diving into some potential. I don't want to call Marvin Harrison Jr. a threat to your chances of winning Best Ball Mania 5, but I just feel like you're going to get better value months down the line here.
Yeah, agreed. And a practice with all these rookies and really, any player that you're kind of iffy on. Look at the same, wide receivers or running backs, whatever you're looking at, are in the same range, right? Like choose your fighter is something that we're going to be trying to talk about throughout the summer here. But when you look at a grouping of guys, like like you're alluding to, going around Marvin Harrison, if you like those other guys more, don't be afraid to just, you know, kind of reach for ADP a little bit and take some of those other guys. I mean, you have Devontae Adams and Chris Olave that I assume are probably going to get the same, if not more, target share in their offense as opposed to Marvin Harrison. So it's a good practice to do, going through these guys and just take a look at the guys going around them and kind of rank those guys for yourself so you know what to do, when you're up on the board.
1,000%. What are your thoughts on Malik Nabers, who is a little bit more affordable, coming off the board as wide receiver 19, pick 28 in round 3? Now, you may have gone a couple of different directions. You may already have 2 elite receivers. Adding Malik Nabers into that doesn't sound too bad, but I don't know if I would feel good starting with Malik Nabers with like 2 elite running backs. Like I feel really, really good about going elite running back 1 and 2, and then following up with like a Michael Pittman in the third. I'm very comfortable doing that. I'm certainly not comfortable doing it with a rookie of Malik Nabers.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. And the other thing with Neighbors is too is the wide receiver or the quarterback situation there scares me a lot. Can you pull up the board that you just had open? I want to take a look at who goes around Malik Neighbors here. So, like, look, you got Cooper Kupp, Michael Pittman, Mike Evans, Jalen Waddle, Debo, Steph Diggs. Like, I will take every single one of them over Malik Neighbors. If he were to fall down to the Keenan Allen, DK Metcalf, T Higgins, Jaden Reed section, I'd be more inclined to take him. There's some guys there like Keenan Allen. I think, they can have similar production. DK Metcalf, that's a guy I'd probably take over Neighbors still. But, if he falls a little bit, I'll feel better about it. But that QB situation really scares me there in New York. And, they have Jalen Hyatt. They have Wan'Dale Robinson. So Malik Neighbors is, definitely better than those guys. But the QB situation just makes me not want to take him where he's currently going.
No, I agree. It's, again, not favorable where you were talking about him falling to or where you would prefer to be. It'd just be one round. It would just be one round later, which I think is very doable come August, come September. I think that you have the public maybe come down to reality just a little bit more on the situation there. Maybe they even add another guy. Maybe they add another free agent. I think didn't they just add another slot receiver?
Man, I don't know. Did they? Giants. Let's check out their depth chart here. Shout out to our lads, by the way. Great site if nobody goes on there. ourlads.com. Just had me on their show 2 weeks ago. Very cool website to go on and check out some depth charts. So checking out the depth chart here for the Giants. Looks like, let's see. They have Darius Slayton, Wan'Dale Robinson, Jalen Hyatt, obviously a rookie. Isaiah McKenzie, is that who you're thinking of?
No, but shout out to
No.
Isaiah McKenzie. An anti shout out Ginder in the chat saying my
Oh,
background is
they also
overrated.
just signed Allen Robinson.
That's what it was. That's what
Yeah.
it was.
Not that does anything to move the needle.
Exactly. But that's what I'm saying. Like they could just be buyers at the position in the summer. Not going to say like Michael Thomas goes there, but I just feel like there could be some continual shakeup at the position. And then, as Jake in the chat is saying, can't trust wide receiver with Danny Jones. And yeah, 100% agree.
Yeah.
We also don't know if Darren Waller's coming back. I don't think that plays a huge factor. But when those two were healthy in the preseason last year, that was like all the rage. DJ and Darren. It's going to be huge in 2023. It wasn't. Unfortunately, it wasn't. So. But if you were to come back, it would obviously take up some target share. But again, in practice, we're both in the same boat here. MHJ, Malik Nabers, these costs are simply too high. And I think that we're just holding out for better value in the coming months, whether it be next month or waiting until August, September. I don't feel like getting a Bulls share of their value at this time. This next group that we're about to break into, I think that's going to shift a little bit here because simply where they're at on the board, I think that we're willing to maybe take a few more risks at that point because we've kind of seen our builds develop and we're making our plans for the later rounds at that time. We're starting to, go into the queue and, oh, hey, I took CeeDee Lamb up top. Let's queue up all my Cowboys. Oh, I took some Falcons. Let's make sure I'm not missing Darnell Mooney and I don't know who's even the backup tight end right now over there. But you know what I mean? Just start queuing up the teams so you can get your stacks rolling. So third up here, we have Xavier Worthy, wide receiver 34, pick 60-ish, 59.9. And he's going at like the round 5, round 6 swing. What are your thoughts on him right now? Obviously a huge hot topic because of Rashee Rice and everything that he's doing. Did you hear that he texted the photographer to come get it? Come back to the club. He come get it. I'm going to kill this dude. I'm going to beat his ass, taking my picture.
Yeah, he's wilding out a little bit, man. The Rashee Rice thing is wild right now. So we'll see how that plays out with the suspension. I'm not sure that what just happened is going to add to the suspension that he's going to get for the multi-car, vehicle accident that he walked away from. So we'll see there. But I mean, Worthy and Hollywood Brown as well. Both those guys going right beside each other. Both of them I expect to keep creeping up the board. So Worthy is somebody that I've actually been taking a decent amount of. So yeah, I'm fine with that. I mean, who doesn't want a wide receiver for the Chiefs, right? Like, I mean, they don't really have an established guy. It could be any of them. I'm taking the shot on Worthy. That's completely fine with me. And yeah, I mean, I feel like he's in a good range. If you look at some of these other guys going around him, of course, I would still take Metcalf and Higgins. Kirk's probably somebody I would also take over Worthy. McLaurin's kind of the McLaurin Pickens is kind of where it really starts to get dicey for me. Love
Agreed.
McLaurin, big Commanders fan, obviously, but I realize what McLaurin is and what he's going to have to deal with. So Worthy has maybe a little bit more of an upside. McLaurin probably has a little bit more of a high floor if you want to look at it that way. But yeah, I mean, long story short, I will take Worthy where he's going because I think he's just going to keep creeping up.
Yeah, I mean, I agreed with just about everything you said there, especially the player comps for drafting. I mean, obviously in the beginning of this round, like Jaden Reed, I'll still take him, Kirk, and then yeah, the Pickens and McLaurin, that's the drop off, and that's just because of one, the uncertainty of the Steelers quarterback situation, and we have no idea what version of Jaden Daniels we're going to get. I don't love that offense year one with him just because your offensive line is atrocious. I think Daniels could get hurt 8 or 9 games in at some point. He's already a runner. And your offense, I mean, did you guys really do anything that's going to blow your hair back to fix the offensive line, in your opinion?
No, I mean they did sign 2 veterans. I'm not sure how that's going to shake out, and they did draft a guy as well. So I think it's going to be an iffy line still. I don't think it'll be as bad as last year. I mean, we saw Sam Howell just get absolutely blown up like the first 6 games of the year. I think he was on pace to have the most sacks or most sacks taken ever. So I don't think it's going to be that bad. Howe isn't the runner that Daniels is. So I think he will be able to escape, the pocket a little bit better and maybe create some plays downfield. So I'm still okay with that. But yeah, man, it's going to get dicey for sure.
Agreed. But it sounds like we're both taking some Xavier Worthy. I do, of the 4 shares that I have of all of these rookies in this top 10, I do have 1 share of Worthy. And I do have 1 share of this next guy, Mr. Rome Odunze, wide receiver 36. His ADP is 66, but I'm not sure about you. I'm seeing him go anywhere from 75 to 80. So that's actually putting him into round 7, potentially round 8. His ADP is round 6, but that is not where I see people drafting him. Of these rookies, he is so far the biggest faller. What are your thoughts on this situation? Obviously, it's a loaded room playing alongside DJ Moore and Keenan Allen. Goodness, even the running backs, DeAndre Swift, Herbert, Cole Kmet, they added Gerald Everett. Like, there's a lot of weapons to feed here.
Yeah, I mean, one, you just hit on it, right? A lot of mouths to feed there. Second thing that you can always hang your hat on to is if you go back historically and look at rookie quarterbacks coming in, they tend to not throw a ton of touchdown passes.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how the Bears are going to shake this out, with their running game and the passing game. I feel like they drafted Caleb Williams for a reason. They're going to want to let him sling it. So I'm not sure, I still think he's going to be probably sub 26, 27 touchdowns total. The other thing that I keep going back to for Odunze is, will he beat out DJ Moore at all without an injury? I don't think so. DJ Moore is the established alpha there, I believe. It's Keenan Allen is the guy that I think he can overtake just by, what he's able to do on the field. Keenan Allen is no spring chicken anymore. He's been in the league a ton. Great wide receiver. I think he might start out the year over Odunze, but maybe halfway through the year, even without an injury, Odunze might just overtake him for more of the target share. So I'm okay with him going here, but there's still other guys around that I think I prefer more. That's that range. If you pull up the board again, yeah. So this range here it's kind of odd, right? So you got Calvin Ridley, Marquise Brown, obviously Rashee Rice, Jordan Addison, Christian Watson, and then we can go into some of these other rookies as well. But like he goes in a weird spot here. This is kind of where I tend to flip over and take some running backs or maybe tight end, quarterback, depending on the build. So I haven't got a lot of these wide receivers personally, but he's in a fine spot here. I just think that it's a weird wide receiver grouping that I tend to not take a lot of.
Well, to clarify as well, in this board that we have on the screen right now, he did go at ADP. So he's actually typically going around later with guys like McConkey, Godwin, like Keon Coleman, like this next round of rookies that we're going to break into, Brian Thomas Jr. So that's typically where I'm seeing him go, is again, like anywhere from 75 to 80, because he's typically falling. And again, not every draft is going to be exactly the same, but that has happened to me very, very consistently in my 12 drafts so far. We're doing number 13 tonight. And again, yeah, I just really like the other names around him. The only time I drafted him, I literally grabbed like every bear you could get minus Cole Kmet, like Williams, Swift, each receiver, DJ, Keenan Allen, Odunze. I got them all. So whatever happens there, if they're lighting up fireworks, bear down. It's gonna be wheels up $1.5 million. I'm gonna have to buy season tickets at least once for the Chicago Bears. That's gonna have to happen. But again, I'm with you here. Really love the running backs in this space, just because the way you and I are typically starting our drafts, we're going wide receiver heavy. So getting some of the value at running back in this round, like a Kenneth Walker, a Rashad White, Alvin Kamara, Aaron Jones, love these guys. Even the next round, DeAndre Swift. I'm a big Najee truther. Been seeing they're not going to give him the 5th option. Criminal. Running backs miss starts. Najee Harris doesn't miss starts. What is he? I don't know. Is he human? I don't know. He's a running back that doesn't miss games. It's just not heard of. Again, Ramondre, he's a climber that I really like. Someone that I do think will also go up the board. So just love the names in this space. It's very difficult for me to buy in to that rookie ADP. And again, this is all relative to the draft. We're in May. The draft was last month. These guys are going to continue to fall. So really, like, that's the biggest lesson that we're taking here. So far through the top 4 guys, if you are going to get them on your team, obviously Marvin Harrison Jr., Malik Nabers, they're going to either be your 2 or your 3rd wide receiver. If you're getting other receivers, are you okay with that? Like, if you're going wide receiver heavy, like completely 0 RB, is that okay for you? Like, is it just like we just wash that off? Because you know what? Yeah, I'll take Marvin Harrison at ADP, but then I'm going to take another 6 guys right after him. Does it matter?
It does. It would help if you're taking, a really good depth at wide receiver and you just want to take the moonshot on Marvin Harrison. So yeah, it definitely helps. I saw somebody draft 7 wide receivers in a row. Didn't like how the team panned out. I'm a
Could have
big
been
guy
me.
for drafting wide receivers early, but that's too many. Too many for me. I like to kind of stick by maybe 4 or 5 by round 7, 8, and then kind of feel
Mhm.
out the draft from there. Depending on how my stacks are pacing out on the team and what the construction looks like. But yeah, I mean, in short, it's better if you have a good depth behind him. That if for some reason he doesn't perform like we think he's going to, it's not going to absolutely kill you.
I think it was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, I went 9 wide receivers straight on my very first big board draft. When you got the itch, you're going 0 RB. So, but I
Yeah.
agree. Don't do as I say, not as I do. Okay. I'll do that. That's for my fun. That's not recommended. That doesn't go on the channel portfolio, we'll say.
We yeah,
But
I
yeah,
would
I
say.
think
Oh god.
I was just gonna say, I think that is the way to attack these guys. If you want them, get them into builds that are wide receiver heavy. Obviously, you mix in, like Andrew just said, the running back value where you can, especially if you can get them after ADP. But I think that is the clearest path to get these guys on potentially big money winning rosters. And obviously, they changed the format this year. So getting every inch closer to the finals is more and more important. Just wanted to kind of recap for those 4 guys how we thought, because with these next 5 to or 4 to 5 flex players, and we do have Caleb Williams as a quarterback, I think that we can have more unique builds where these guys may be falling into our lap. But I think I know us pretty well here. It's probably going to be still very similar. We're going to be fading these guys for now. So 5th up, we've got Ladd McConkey, wide receiver 40. This is a pretty tight bunch here. Odunze, McConkey, Thomas, Keon, Coleman, ranging from wide receiver 36 to wide receiver 42. Bunch of rookie wide receivers in that tier. So McConkey at 40, going at the round 6, round 7 swing, pretty affordable cost. And right now, people are talking about him being the Chargers' number 1 wide receiver. Do you believe that? Is it McConkey? Is it Palmer? Is it Quentin Johnston? Is it someone we haven't seen yet? I think we agree it's not DJ Chark. But what's your take on McConkey here?
Yeah, and honestly, I think we can talk about McConkey, Brian Thomas Jr., and Keon Coleman all in the same scenario here. But
Sure.
I mean, as far as the question, I I think it's an open party for who's going to be the wide receiver 1 for the Chargers. I mean, none of them besides Josh Palmer really have some sort of relationship with Herbert.
Mhm.
So honestly, I think Palmer's probably out of the gate going to see the most targets. But I mean, it's going to be friendship strategy here, right? It's going to be who has the breakfast narrative with Herbert, right? We saw it with Cup and Puka, for Stafford, right? It's who's going to sit down and build that relationship with Justin Herbert. It could definitely be Ladd McConkey, and if that's the case, as wide receiver 40 off the board, that will be a tremendous value. With that said, we could definitely, we kind of thought this last year with Quentin Johnston. I think
Mhm.
the fantasy community was kind of split on Quentin Johnston last year. Some of us were really in, some of us were really out. And we kind of saw, what happened, right? He just didn't pan out. Now, can he? Sure. I mean, he has the pedigree to be really good. They used him in the red zone a few times. That's where most of his touchdowns came into play. So I really think it's an open competition. But I mean, Ladd McConkey, why not him, right? I mean, he's a great wide receiver coming out of college, a new coaching staff, a new play caller. I think it's going to, really be an open party. So I'm completely fine with McConkey going as wide receiver 40.
Yeah, they brought in Greg Roman. It's going to be a run heavy offense. So I think that's why the public is currently so down on this offense, because they're like, oh, well, Justin Herbert, he throws bombs, he throws deep balls. That's not what Greg Roman does. It's not what he draws up. He lets dudes run. And something that stood out on the scouting report for McConkey is that he has the vision of a running back. So he could very well get that Debo Samuel type of usage, but I don't know if, again, I want to bet on it at this ADP. I think that people are going to start sniffing out your narrative here of whether it be the breakfast narrative or the consistency or experience of like a Josh Palmer, who I view as still the number 1 there, just because he's been there, he has the experience. He's not obviously going to know the playbook because it's going to be a different system, but I still believe that experience brings him a level up, and he's at a much better value. Andrew, he's going at ADP 126. McConkey is at ADP 70. Ladd McConkey right now is the most expensive Chargers ADP. This is a very friendly, very affordable stacking situation right now in the month of May. When you're looking at Gus Edwards, he's the second guy. Gus Edwards at 117, Herbert at 122, Palmer at 126, and Quentin Johnston at 148. And then if you want to sprinkle in some, late round sleepers in J.K. Dobbins, Kamani Vidal, DJ Chark, Hayden Hurst, I took in the very last round. Greg Roman bringing over the Ravens, making it Baltimore West with Dobbins, Edwards, and Hayden Hurst. I'm very interested to see how that works out, but I just don't need to reach for Ladd McConkey, because if I want to get a build for the Chargers, it's going to be very affordable, given the right draft position, not getting poached, not experiencing any, position avalanches or anything like that. It's a pretty good situation, especially for Herbert, who is now somehow QB, is that 17? QB 17, Justin Herbert. 240, 290, 400 fantasy points per season the last 3 years. That's a gift. That's a gift.
What people should have just taken from what you just said there is that the Chargers stack is very obtainable and will not cost you a whole lot. So it's not going to kill you if that stack does not pan out. So I really like that call.
Well, we're talking about kind of just shifting through this tier here. So who stands out more to you? I'll just ask before we kind of just go in order. Thomas Jr. or Keon Coleman?
Ooh, that's tough.
It's not tough for me. It's there's an easy answer for me, in my opinion.
Okay. I mean, for me, it's probably Brian Thomas. I think he's just a better wide receiver. Yeah, a better wide receiver, right. But he is behind Christian Kirk. He is behind probably Evan Ingram potentially in targets. Evan Ingram had a ton of targets last year. Now, granted, right. There were some injuries. Kirk, wasn't there for a few games. They had Ridley at the time, but Ridley's gone. Zay Jones is gone. Those targets are open for him. And, I do feel like Brian Thomas is a better wide receiver than Keon Coleman. I think that he will see more deep threat, opportunities, maybe a little bit more red zone opportunities than Keon Coleman too, because I'm a firm believer that Dalton Kincaid is the guy that's going to see a ton of targets in Buffalo.
Yeah.
So we'll see. And plus they have Shakir as well. And, Shakir was good when he was on the field last year and the opportunities that he got. So I will still take Brian Thomas there, but they're very close for me. I'm fine with either.
I'm a big advocate for Keon Coleman over BTJ just right now. Maybe the situation somehow gets better, but you forgot about the $39 million man. Gabe Davis is also in Jacksonville.
Oh, okay. No, right.
Come on. You do not give somebody that type of contract.
Gabe Davis.
It doesn't matter. The Jags just made Gabe Davis. He's getting paid. It's a big commitment out of their cap. And I can't just imagine that this rookie is going to come in and say, oh yeah, I'm going to, take your share of the touches or opportunity in this offense. And they just run the ball a lot. Josh Allen and the Bills are going to pass the ball more, specifically to this, at least the running back position, than they are going to try to run with James Cook. He caught a ton of passes last year. And Keon Coleman has a much clearer path to being either first or second in his team in total targets. I agree with you. Dalton Kincaid, huge buy candidate right now. And I like Shakir. I think the Curtis Samuel addition is interesting. But Keon Coleman, one, getting that draft stock, having similar ADP as these guys here, he's someone in this group I could see going up the board a little bit. Maybe it's not a lot, but from 42 to like where Rome Odunze is at 36, I don't think that's a huge argument. You could flip them around and I wouldn't think twice.
Okay, so I'm hearing that. I think we are going to get a board bet for ourselves here, huh? Keon Coleman versus Brian Thomas Jr. Should we do underdog scoring, half-point PPR?
Yes.
All right, half-point PPR, put it on the board. I'm writing it down right now. Oh, boy, you're going to look silly.
Me? Come on now. Come on now. We're not talking Chase Claypool here, okay? That was for fun.
Yeah. What a call by you.
We got Jake. Shut up. We got Jake adding into the Brian Thomas love is all about that ball. Led the NCAA with 17 TDs. Going to be a great red zone candidate. I do believe he definitely can fill that hole for Zay Jones. But I felt like when we saw Zay Jones leave, immediately light bulbed that, hey, Gabe Davis is going to be getting a lot of those as well, because that's how the Bills were using him. They weren't using him necessarily as a huge deep threat. All right. Our next guy up we have is Jonathan Brooks, pick 92, round 8, RB27. They're saying he's the Panthers running back 1. Do you agree?
I do. Now I'm optimistic on his outlook for the beginning of the year.
Mhm.
Pessimistic side of me thinks he's going to be a little injured and they're probably not going to give him a ton of work. But I'd like to be
Yep.
optimistic here because I think it's a good opportunity. When Chuba Hubbard was on the field last year for them, Chuba Hubbard's just a guy, right? Like he's a fine running back, but he's a jag, right? Just a guy. He still
He's a
performed
Hubbard.
pretty well.
He's a Hubbard. He's not a
He's
Jack.
he performed pretty well, right? And
Yeah.
Jonathan Brooks is definitely a better running back when healthy. So I do like the spot for him. RB27 feels like appropriate spot to take him. And it's not somebody I'm going to shy away from, but temper expectations straight out of the gate. They may ease him in a little bit due to the fact
Mhm.
of he was coming off an injury. So, take that with a grain of salt. But I mean, look at the running backs going around him. I mean, there's a ton of guys here I feel really comfortable with. James Conner, I hate the old running backs. Shout out, our friend Davis Pang was all over James Conner last year, and it worked out for him. James Conner, when on the field, is very good. But they went and they got Trey Benson. I like Trey Benson as well, so I'm fine with him. Mostert was going way late last year, and he was a league winner for you. He was somebody that helped you get across the finish line, and so I love Mostert here. Warren also, if Najee's out of town, Warren's the number 1 running back, and you're getting him in the 9th right now. It is absurd. Austin Eckler, Brian Robinson, Javonte Williams, like I love all these guys, so it's hard for me to say that I would take Brooks over most of them, but I'll take Brooks over a few, and it really depends on the build as well. But like honestly,
Mhm.
this range, if you fill up with wide receivers, you could take 2 of these guys and feel completely fine with it.
I think he's going to fall, and that again is just similar to the rest of the conversation we're having with most of these rookies. There's going to be better value, and I am not drafting Jonathan Brooks in this range. And why you can't give me my James Conner flowers? Unreal. You were giving me so much shit about his rushing yard prop last year. This time last year, unreal. Mostert, Connor, Eckler, uh, not Javante.
Really,
I've
not
got Nick
Javonte.
Chubb, not Javante. I'm in the Jaleel McLaughlin camp. I'm sticking to it. I'm sticking to my guns. Hey, I wasn't a Christian Watson advocate last year, and I still got my little bits of, Christian Watson. So Javante, we're drafting 150 teams. He's going to get on somewhere. That's a fact. But no, definitely not right now. Someone else I'm hoping will fall. Because if I see any action of McLaughlin up the board, cool. I've gotten a lot of him now. I can move off of him and get some better value on Javante.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm with you. I like a lot of the other guys in this area. There's going to be a fall, and that's what we're going to wait for. And we're setting up the falling conversation. We're gonna show you guys something interesting here after we get through these last 2 players. Caleb Williams coming off the board at QB 11. It's not the best value, but obviously the situation is right. When have you seen a rookie QB come into such a good situation? Depth at running back, depth at receiver, tight end, everything. The offensive line isn't amazing, but it's still going to be better from last year. And he is a mobile running back to begin with. He can work out of the RPO. I'm guessing we're going to see some type of packages with that, similar to some of the field packages from last year. Obviously, much more disciplined, much more toned down than you would have seen with Justin Fields, but looked for some QB runs definitely in his repertoire this year. That will happen. No to Caleb Williams, says Indiana. He's just trying to get a rile out of me. A good situation. It's the Bears. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
pal. Okay,
so
pal.
honestly, I can't remember the last time a rookie quarterback had such a nice setup for him. This is just it's electric, honestly, like what he has to work with. As I alluded to though before, rookie quarterbacks tend to not throw a ton of touchdowns. If he can get
Mhm.
over that threshold, then this is a very good spot for him to go. With that said, I'd rather have Joe Burrow. I'll take Kyler Murray. I hate to say it, but
Mhm.
I'll take Prescott. And Jordan Love is right there as well. I mean, I was
Yeah.
not a Love guy last year, but he shoved it down my throat, with what he did. So Caleb
Mhm.
Williams, I think it's a fine spot. I think we could potentially see a fall until July. July, once they start getting into training camp and we start seeing
Mhm.
really big flashes from Caleb Williams to DJ Moore, or Caleb Williams to Odunze, then we're going to see the hype train coming in on Caleb Williams, and he's going to shoot up. So honestly, I think it's probably a good spot to get him now through beginning of July before training camp happens. Then maybe fade him a little bit, depending on what the other QB situations look like here around him. But I think it's fine spot for him to go right now. Like I said, great offense, great weapons around him. But as Indiana Jones alluded to, it's the Bears. We've seen them shoot themselves in the foot multiple times. So it's tough to say, but I think Caleb Williams is fine. Silver fingernails and all.
No, stop. It's going to be bear orange, okay?
Whatever. Bear blue, but bear orange, shit purple, or shit brown, whatever. Shit purple, you might want to get that checked.
Unreal. I think he's in a good spot here. The only times that I have taken him, one, I was building a big Bears stack. So I made sure to get him for sure. Get the hell out of here, Ryan Leaf 2.0. Stop it. You're going to get banned. Stop it. Stand down, Gindy. Stand down. We named the dog Gindiana. Where he's at, Dak Prescott, Jordan Love, I would take those guys over him. I took him in another build where Jared Goff and Dak Prescott went ahead of him, and those guys are typically not going ahead of him, at least per ADP. So if you're doing a build, you definitely just try to take him at his cost. If you're getting a little bit better value on him, I don't mind taking him naked, but that would definitely be in a 3 QB build. I would not try to be getting too many 2 QB builds with Caleb Williams right now. Last man up here is the first tight end off the board, rookie tight end off the board, Brock Bowers, going as, was it tight end 10? Rich, feels like it's rich. And in the round 8, round 9 swing. So let's get that up on the board here. For me, it's great or late for tight end. Like, I just don't love these middle guys. If I'm getting them, even David Njoku, like, he was a great guy for me last year on a lot of my top scoring teams, but he typically, he was either the first guy or the second guy, and that was it. If I was getting him as my first, I was backing him up with like Ty Conklin and Trey McBride. Obviously that worked out for one of those guys. But he wasn't, I wasn't starting off with him and then getting one other guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I struggle with Bowers a little bit here. I still think he's going to fall there. There's, Mayer there as well. The interesting thing is the offensive coordinator there ranked 7th last year in using 2 tight end sets. He did not have near as good as tight ends as he does now. I expect them to be top 5 in using duo tight ends on the field at the same time. So that is interesting to me. That's a check mark in the correct box for Brock Bowers, but I'll take Ferguson over him. I mean, I think it is. Yeah. I mean, why not? Right. Like Brock Bowers.
Well, you just said the argument with like to take him would be because they're going to run 2 tight end sets. Why wouldn't I take Mayer in the 17th and Minshew in the 18th?
Yeah, and I totally agree with that. I'll take Mayer at the very end of the draft all day, every day. Like that's fine with me. But Bowers deserves to be somebody that's drafted as a top 10 tight end because of his skill set, because of what he can do, on the field, how he can make plays, how he can get open in the red zone for them. I like Bowers. I think it's still a little rich. I think we see him drop a little bit. So this is somebody I'm not currently drafting, but we'll definitely have an exposure to him in BBM because, I mean, he's fantastic tight end. Now, is he going to do what Sam Laporta did last year? I really don't think so. I mean, we got really spoiled with Laporta, right? Like this is not going to be a Laporta 2.0 in my eyes. So I'm going to take the fall on Bowers later on. Hopefully he gets, at the end of round 9 into round 10, I'll feel a lot better than round 8, personally, but we shall see. How do you shake out here on the Bowers train?
Yeah, I'm not buying. I mean, I pretty much just laid out my argument right there. Like, if they're going to run that many double tight end sets, then I'm going to take the guy that's cheaper, that's going to have just as many snaps, and I can get his quarterback too. I mean, obviously, you can also just, get Brock Bowers here and take Minshew in round 17 or 18 as well. A very affordable team stacks right now in the Raiders. But again, this is just too high a cost for me for a rookie tight end. And I agree with you. Like, the ADP is jaded per Laporta's performance and production from last season. And I'm not looking for the next Laporta. I'm actually looking for the next Trey McBride. Like, the guy that was completely off the radar. As we got closer to the start of last season, like there was a lot of steam for Sam Laporta because it was just clear that, hey, these guys aren't going to do anything else at the position of wide receiver or pass catcher. And you have the Jameson Williams missing time. So, I mean, like there was just a bit of a perfect storm that came up and got him up the board there. Back-to-back Mackey Award winner. You know what they say?
Oh, yeah, that's right. Motherfucking Mackey Award winner, baby.
Best
Mackey Award winners do tend to do well in the NFL. So I will say that for Bowers as well.
All right, so that wraps up the conversation. Be sure to, if you're jumping onto Underdog, if you're new there, be sure to use promo code FANSPEAK. Just want to get that out. They're going to give you a special pick bonus, and they've upped their deposit match up to $250. Before we end the rookie conversation, we want to show you some visuals of this time last year. If you could take down the banner quick, we can get it back up. So let's see. This is from the other day. 5/7/24. This next board is from 5/7/23. And what you're going to see in commonality of our board and last year's board is that you have similar amount of rookies being drafted inside the top 10. We had 10 go inside the top 10 last year, and we had 10 go inside the top 10 the same exact date a year later. And now what you're going to see, and you can check out the board here a little bit, going anywhere from Bijan to Devon Achane, from round 1 through 10, the rookies that were available. As you'll see, this next board, they completely went down to 8 rookies drafted in the top 10. And this draft is from 9/5, September 5th, the week we kicked off the 2023 season. So backs up our conversation that we've been having here and our narratives that we need to sit on rookies for a little bit. I know it's exciting. The change of the guard, the new toy to play with in the offense. I get it. There's a lot of excitement, but we're still too close to the NFL draft. So when you're not hanging around the fan speak streets and you're hearing some other best ball bros talking about Lad McConkey is going to be the next Deebo Samuel, hey, we appreciate that. We acknowledge that. But we're waiting. We're being patient. We're being disciplined. And that's what it's all about. Getting your disciplined builds, being creative, being unique. If you can sneak these guys in at value, by all means, me and Andrew, not going to disagree. Pull the trigger. No need to reach and no need to get fancy or special. We've seen some weird stuff, not just from rookies, but all over. There's always going to be that draft where you're like, Josh Allen just went 3rd overall. What? Deebo Samuel just went in the 1st. Like, you're going to see those weird drafts happen. And when they do, maybe you light bulb to yourself, hey, maybe this is going to be a good draft to take some rookies. Maybe I'm going to find a little bit better value at the rookie position. And we're going to continue the rookie conversation as well as we jump into the live draft. As we wrap this up here, we did want to cover some of the top producers for 2023 rookies. Looking at the top of the board here, Puka Nacua, obviously, he wore the crown coming out of round 5.
Shout out, Puka.
Andrew, you can take a bow. Take a bow, Andrew. Yeah. Andrew all over Puka Nacua last year. But you see most of these other guys, round 1 and 2, and one outlier for Josh Downs in round 3. This is based on receptions, which most of the first round for rookies is favorable to wide receivers. You're not seeing many, rookie running backs coming off the board. I think we had, what do we have on the list? 3? No, just the one. We had just Jonathan Brooks in this one. Last year, we had a few more because we had Bijan, we had Jahmyr Gibbs going early. The king of the position was definitely receiver last year in this format. But even Bijan, he got on the board with 58 receptions, how these guys are ranked here. So just kind of seeing how they were favored in volume for being rookies. You're seeing these situations where Puka, he had what? One guy to beat? He had Cooper Kupp standing in front of him. Sam Laporta, who did he have? Just Amon-Ra, that's it. Rashee Rice, really nobody. I mean, people thought it was Kadarius Toney. People thought it was Sky Moore. It wasn't. He was just the guy. So when you're looking at these kind of convoluted situations where you're like, who's going to be the dude? I just don't know. Like the Buffalo Bills. I think people are assuming, oh, yeah, Shakir. Oh, yeah, Curtis Samuel. I think that Keon Coleman kind of fits that mold of what Rashee Rice and Zay Flowers were dealing with last year, where there's just not many obstacles for elite volume. Jordan Addison, he had mouse to feed ahead of him. Dalton Kincaid, same thing, coming onto the roster with an elite, Stephon Diggs. The ball was going a lot to James Cook out of the backfield. And, Dalton Kincaid didn't really get going till he was down the road here. And then you see some of these other guys like Josh Downs and Jaden Reed. Those offenses had more weapons. They were deeper. Same thing with Jackson Smith and Jigba, someone you drafted as like a top 5 dynasty asset, buried here in this bunch for opportunities because DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, Kenneth Walker. We don't want to overhype rookies in a situation where there's just clear and away, obstacles ahead of them, guys that are going to prevent them from getting on the field. Andrew, looking at these stats here, is there anything that you wanted to add in here other than, taking a massive victory lap on Puka Nacua?
Yeah, Puka and Sam Laporta, I had a decent exposure to both of them. So I was very, very lucky and feel blessed to have been on that those 2 trains before they really took off later on, right before the season. But some of these guys I think we really knew were going to do well. I liked Flowers a lot as well. Kincaid was somebody that was extremely interesting. JSN as well. Shout out to him. He performed well and was a for all intents purposes wide receiver 3 coming into the year for Seattle. So I think the takeaway is rookies can be really good. I don't think we're going to get any performances like we got last year. So temper expectations, but don't be afraid to take your shot on guys that you like, because again, Puka, people were saying like, there's just no way. I mean, he's a guy who's drafted later. He's not going to come in and do very good and blah, blah, blah. And then he did, right? So listen to the news, but make your own opinions and go for it. Right. Just don't take him, well past ADP. Yeah, I don't know, man. Rookies are always interesting. I just believe that if you're going to like one, take your shot on them and roll it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And then lastly here, we do have some quarterback production. I'm not sure if we see a Caleb Williams type of season like we saw out of CJ Stroud. He certainly has the weapons to do it and the system to do it. You're just going to have that trust, and you're going to have to, put your money on him. Same thing with Daniels or JJ McCarthy. A couple of these guys, like JJ McCarthy, or even Drake May, they could have similar seasons to Bryce Young or potentially even worse. There's really just no way to know right now, especially not knowing the full scope of the offenses. We're going to get going with the draft here, but before we do you want to throw anything in on the quarterbacks?
No, I've said my piece, on the quarterbacks. They just tend not to throw a ton of touchdowns, as you see here. CJ Stroud had 23, yep. And we think he had an awesome season, right? Like, so temper expectations. I don't think that we're going to see anybody throwing for 30 touchdowns. No Williams, no Daniels. They're not throwing for 30.
So what Andrew just said was buy DeAndre Swift. You're welcome. And Roshan, because I know he's got a hard on for Roshan.
Yes, I do like Roshan.
All right, cool. So let's get the board up here. Let's get the draft going. You are going to be popping your head into.
Yep. I will do that.
See if we are safe. So let's take a 1 through 5 here. Everybody in the chat, if you're looking to jump into the draft, pull up the phones, pull up the laptop. Let's give everybody a second. We'll do a little 5, 4.
I was going to say before we do that, if you are watching, please like and subscribe to the channel. It really helps us. It really helps the channel. So we appreciate that. Share with friends too. Make sure you're telling people that, you found a new pod to listen to with 2 guys who, sound decent at what they do, and I don't want to tout it, but, I did make the finals last year. Shh. All right.
38 out of 150. All right. Unreal.
All right, I'm going to poke my head in and see what we are working with. Hopefully I don't get stuck in one like last time and have to double draft here.
You should. I just told the people 5 seconds and you took 15.
Well, it's important.
Unreal.
Turn on the notifications too.
Ginder's already in a draft.
All right, well, you might as well go ahead and get in one now because I just got locked in one, so there's going to be a free room open.
All right, we'll get in the room first.
All right, hold on.
I told you if you had just been a little patient. There's 4 in. I don't know if you're in there. 8 people to join, so we are.
I'm
good.
in 7 in. Feel free to join. Again, good. We are in BBM. That is the $25 Underdog contest. It is their flagship contest. $1.5 million up top. Very nice pay grade. Wow, that was a little close. Nice pay grade this year that they did for, if you make the finals, you make your $3,750. It's going to take you to max completely back. So it is good on them for wanting people to make more money. And I think it's good for them too that they did that, right? The more you make, the more you're going to want to come back and spend.
I'm going to be withdrawing. I'm a sicko, but a sicko on a budget.
I am pick 12 in the other draft, if anybody cares.
What's going on here? Did I get more free money? I think I got more free money.
Jeez, dude. Must be nice.
Yeah.
Some of us had to earn our money.
I earned my money too. It's just I mean, I'm not hurting from all the freebies. I had 50 in. I did a draft today. I just entered this draft and I still have $25. So cool. Sweet.
Maybe you had a draft get canceled.
What? No. I looked before the show started. Okay. I mean, unless they did it literally while we are live. That would be crazy. I guess someone actually paid Pete Overzet the $5,000 to take Marvin Mims Jr. in the first round.
Speaking of $5,000, I did win $5,000 in a battle royale at the end of the season last year.
Must be nice. I think that's the only way I'm going to get my badge, by the way. Like, they're just never going to give me a badge until I just win some big money. Like, it's just never going to happen. I don't understand how much money I have to spend on this app and not be recognized for it.
If anybody does like to do the battle royales, once those, once the season's here and those kick off, we will be doing content around those as well. So stay tuned for that. That is exciting. I love the battle royales, man. That was so much fun. I like it better than just regular DFS.
I'm going to check my account on my phone really quick and see what they do.
We do have 3 more to start. If anybody's in the chat and has been hesitant to get in, 3 more to start, come join us.
That's weird. On my phone, it does say 0. On the PC, it says 25 still. So the PC is probably just wacko.
Interesting.
Yeah, that is super interesting. I was like, that's not possible. Like, again, in a matter of days, they were like, hey, here's some more free money. It was 2 free BBMs. It's not nothing crazy. How are your builds going so far? How many teams do you have, and do you have a favorable build thus far?
So I've done 9. I'm in 1 slow draft. I wanted to pop one of those off. Don't recommend it for everybody because dang, does it take so long, dude. It just does. So, is what it is. But yeah, so I got 9 done so far. Most of my builds are 2 QBs and then 5 or 6 running backs, 7 or 8 wide receivers, and then 2 or 3 tight ends. You know me, I like to be consistent across the board. But yeah, man, I mean, it's a lot of wide receivers up top, running backs in the mid range to late range, and then filling it in with the tight ends and quarterbacks that I feel like I want to stack with. But so far, the builds have been good. Just don't want to do too many right now because I do like to have more information before we start doing this. But yeah, man, it is. I do like my builds thus far. I'm assuming you're in the same boat. Are you the 2 QB or are you part of the Meg train of the 3 QBs?
Let's see here. So 2-5-8-3 is my most common build. And I have a 3-4-8-3, a 3-5-7-3, 2 3-5-8-2s, and 1 3-6-6-3.
Okay.
I am in the
we are live now. Oh, influencer, as Pete Overzet would say, influencer 101 for your boy. Shout out Meg, our leader and captain of Fanspeak here. She's in the 2 spot.
Nice.
Let's see. Bruni, you are on the 8 spot. Gindy, hashtag Team Ramrod in the 10 spot. That's all I know in here. If you are in the chat and I missed your name and you're part of this draft, please let us know so that at the end we can take a look at your team.
We need to get a zoom going here so we can see this board.
Gindy says the rich get richer, with the 101 here. Meg, as I alluded to, pick 2. He also says, Bruni, before the draft starts, just remember Pony is a very underrated song.
Get on it.
All right, man. Such a hard decision up top. I mean, what do you do, right? You got all these guys. I'm just kidding. It's CMC all day, every day, twice on Sunday.
You only do 2 drafts on Sundays?
I think you're misconstruing the saying there.
I don't understand the reference.
That sounds about right for you.
You didn't understand that reference. That's from the other guys.
Oh,
I don't want no.
shout
I don't
out.
want no
Good
scrubs.
movie.
Don't go chasing no waterfalls. Are you quoting TLC? I
Yeah,
don't
come
understand
on.
the reference.
And then
I
he
don't
does it
understand
like
the
how many
reference.
times throughout the movie?
While he's working at Bed Bath and Beyond. Got to put my kids through college. Let's see. I am going to be up
So
here
far,
at 8.
nothing crazy. This is about how they go, except for I do typically see Bijan and or Brees Hall go before Amonra, but
Same.
I don't mind. I don't mind Amonra at 6.
I've been able to get Bijan at 9. When I was able to do that, I did get him stacked with Drake London. What are your thoughts about stacking in rounds 1 and 2? Is it something that you're trying to do, avoid, encourage, discourage?
You mean like stacking players from
Right
the
away,
same
out of the
team?
gate.
Oh man, I don't love it, to be honest. I'm not going to have a ton of that. I mean, it's fine, but that's not my personal style. No.
Okay, all right. I like it, especially with some of these elite pairings like AJ Brown and Saquon. You want a little something of that, a little more affordable Jalen Hurts. I think Jalen Hurts in that QB tier is going to come up the board as well.
I think that only works if Jalen Hurts doesn't run for a ton of touchdowns, and that's the Barkley role then.
Well, what do you think about Barkley getting some of them tush pushes? I mean, he fits the mold,
what
no?
just
Maybe
helping
even
Hurts?
better than Hurts.
Yeah, maybe.
Could
Yeah.
happen. I don't know.
I mean, I love Saquon. I mean, shout out Penn State, but I feel like that only works if Hurts isn't going to run for a ton of touchdowns.
So we see Jahmyr Gibbs and then Marvin Harrison Jr. go at that pick 13, going right at ADP, right at the round 1 and 2 turn. We'll be sure to follow that build from the 12th pick and see how it comes out. Again, if I'm doing that, I think I want to grab a receiver there. I want to go, London or Olave or Adams and then get Marvin Harrison there. Don't know how I like it with a Jahmyr Gibbs, who, while I'd love Jahmyr Gibbs, I love David Montgomery even more. I mean, it's a great situation for running backs in that Lions offense. Both will still probably have good seasons, but man, Gibbs at 12 also feels expensive with Saquon and Jonathan Taylor behind him. I don't know. I'm gonna go Olave here. Don't have a lot of him yet. I'm gonna try to mix it up a little bit. I was thinking about doing elite running back. I've honestly liked those builds. I am not opposed to getting Hall and Taylor, Hall and Barkley or Bijan and any of those guys. Because again, I do like some of these 3rd round receivers. Like Mike Evans, like Michael Pittman, and I can take off from there and just not touch running back for a long, long while after round 2.
Yeah. A shout out Jake Bake when he said, I mean, Jason Kelsey told Saquon to go down at the 2 if he wants TDs.
Nice. No, that's going to be a thing for sure. And I think that getting Hurts and Barkley probably the more important stack, but because of where they're going, it's very easy to start that build, and if you miss one, okay, cool. I still have Devontae Smith. Okay, cool. There's Dallas Goedert back there. Someone I'm not as high on this year, given the depth now in the offense. But I mean, there's a lot of backdoor little tricks there to get a good Eagles build going. What are you thinking about? Well, you don't have to share because we don't want the boss lady to snipe you.
Well, I mean, it's fine if she does. It's all cool. I think everything happens for a reason, so I don't mind. If I'm not gonna lie to you, if Saquon falls to me here, I'm 1000% taking Saquon, even though I have CMC. If not, then I'm probably gonna take two of these wide receivers. I'm not a Kyron guy. I'll take Corum any day of the week later on. And Achane, man, it's interesting because he is so good, but so was Mostert, and then they drafted a guy as well. So, what is your take on Achane here? Damn it! Oh, hoping the dream was there.
Well, that was a big runner receivers, dude. That's what I was just about to say. Was like we were in the middle of an avalanche. Like from picks 9 through 21, we had 2 running backs off the board, and that's not typical. So Barkley getting a little bit of value there, going to L Grew 50. Megan just took Kyrene. I like that start. CD, Kyrene. Andrew's on the board now. I don't necessarily love taking Achane there, but if I get Tyreek Hill, again, that's a situation where I don't mind, loading up on a round 1 and round 2 stack because, again, 2 is going to be affordable. Jonnu Smith is their starting tight end. He's super affordable in the late rounds. I don't love necessarily getting, Devon Achane without knowing that I'm going to get Jalen Waddle. So I think the most ideal situation, at least for me, because I do like being able to stack up my top 2 picks, would be to have Tyreek Hill first, if possible. Which again, that's a very doable stack. I've seen Achane go very often in this corner of round 2, anywhere from 21 to 24. So it looks like someone's going to get him at some value here. Maybe Megan pulls the trigger. I'm not sure. But he is still on the board. ADP's pick 22, so he's right now 4 spots after ADP.
Yep.
And then, of course, right after him, Jalen Waddle, pick 28. And again, like that might be a little bit more difficult. Like if you miss, Tyreek Hill up top, you might be able to come back round 2, round 3 at that turn and get. We just saw Jalen Waddle go off the board. We're seeing the avalanche here. It's happening right before our eyes. The running backs are going to get some bump value in this draft for sure. That's a lot of receivers, guys.
Yeah, definitely.
Sam Laporta at pick 28. I believe that is right at ADP. Don't hate that. What are your thoughts on early tight end right now? I mean, I'm getting some value where I can. I'll be honest with you. Earlier today, I took Sam Laporta at pick 26, and I didn't feel great about it because I wound up going 3-6-6-3 because of a similar draft style like this. Everybody was just loving receiver. Receivers were dead by round 7, and I was just getting balance, right? So I got more running backs than I probably would because I was getting better value and just balancing out the roster. But that felt more like a trap after the fact. What are your thoughts about just maybe targeting like Laporta, Andrews, Kelsey, McBride right now?
Yes. In short, yes. I like coming away with one of the top 6, maybe 7 tight ends. It is preferred for me. I think that a lot of those guys have a big edge over, the guys that you would get taking later on. Ferguson's interesting though. Like that's the guy that I think is like right there at that tier drop off where I think that nothing really changed for him. He still has a great opportunity for target share in Dallas. They have Brandon Cooks. Obviously, they have CeeDee Lamb. But outside of that, they didn't really address the situation. So I like Ferguson a lot, if you do want to wait a little bit on a guy. But yeah, I mean, I love getting, Laporta or Kelsey, Andrews, Pitts, Kincaid. Kincaid's somebody I really, really, really like getting. I think that he can see a massive target share in Buffalo.
Same. I agree with you. He is a very big value right now, coming off the board at ADP 50. I really like that range, actually. Like Kincaid, Andrews, Pitts, that's a nice tier. It feels very friendly and like it's going to have a very good return on investment. All right, so kind of wrapping up this round here, you went CMC, Mike Evans, DJ Moore. I like that start. Megan Baxter, Kyrene Williams pick up with Jalen Waddle. Then we went Achane, Laporta, Malik Nabers. Looks like after ADP, I think we said round 3, so now he's probably right in the middle, so right at ADP. Pittman Smith. I took Derrick Henry, bulking up a little bit on running back, grabbing a little bit of value there. He was pick 32, and I got him right at pick 32. So I'm right on par of ADP. Everybody's exactly at their spots. Hall, pick 8. He's 7.7. Henry, 32 at 32. And Olave, ADP at pick 17. So feeling good there. DK Metcalf, Kelsey, ETN, Zay Flowers, Josh Allen, first quarterback off the board to that 12th pick. Going to be an interesting build there. He had backed up that Marvin Harrison Jr. with Zay Flowers. I still think I'd like a receiver there, 36 and 37. I am on the board, and we're going back to receiver. We're just getting us a nice balanced build here. We've got Olave and Cooper Kupp at our receivers. Cooper Kupp, a round 1 receiver last year. If he's going to come in healthy, this could be a very immense value. Not just because he'll be 100%, but because he'll probably climb up the board to mid-round 3 if, all of the news is positive. You're starting to see that training camp tape. I think he's going to be a big climber come, July, August.
Oh, yeah. No, I agree.
Was thinking about Lamar there. That would have also been right at ADP with the Henry stack, but I like my potential opportunities for maybe getting some Jets, getting Derek Carr, going back end QB.
Yeah, I was just about to say I'm surprised that Jackson and Hurts are still on the board. Actually, I've been seeing in this range all of the quarterbacks
Hmm.
going like almost in a row a lot of
Yeah.
times. So I'm kind of
Yep.
surprised. Well, okay, well there goes Hurts, and I'm assuming Jackson's going to follow here in the next 2 picks or so.
Maybe. I mean, would you consider him at your pick at 4-5?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Yeah. No, anytime you can pair up CMC and Lamar Jackson, that's not a
Can
bad
we
situation
can
to
we
get
zoom?
involved with.
Are we able to make the board a little bigger? It does look a little blurry, at least to my eyes. I'm not looking at it, depending on I guess what screen you're looking at. But is there any way to sharpen it at all?
I'll just have to move left and right.
Okay, yeah, I mean that looks a lot better to me.
Okay. We just won't be able to see as much up top. All good. We can get in and out of those moments when needed. So we had, let's see, I
Man,
had Cooper Cup,
mm.
Tank Dell, Isaiah Pacheco, Jalen Hurts, Stroud, McBride. Megan goes George Pickens. That's tough.
Oh boy,
We
so
must
this is
we must be
interesting
on
to
a
me
run.
because I can either take the Cook and Kincaid Buffalo stack, or I can go
Hmm.
Mark Andrews and Lamar Jackson. Kind of wanted to take a wide receiver here, but with the way that this fell to me, I kind of feel like I need to take Lamar Jackson and Mark Andrews. So I think I'm actually going to do that. I do not
Nice,
have that
nice.
stack yet.
I like that. I like that a lot. I like that a lot. And see, I don't. There's nothing wrong with that. You're going round 4, round 5. I'm just trying to do the same thing in round 1, round 2. I mean, you're just getting that consecutive stack value at a higher rate. And I think that doing so, really, at any point in the draft, whether it's rounds 1 and 2, 17 or 18, or mid-tier selection rounds, I think it's a good situation because you're getting more value out of the stack. You're getting, that good value at ADP. Hopefully, I mean, if you're doing it ahead of ADP, it may not be as amazing value. But if you're doing that at ADP or after, you're backing that up with other great picks.
Yep.
By the way, I had to zoom out because it also
Sorry.
zooms in my screen. So
Oh, 10-4, 10-4.
yeah,
Gotcha.
I can't do that. So
No, that's
sorry,
understandable.
gang. You'll
That's
have to
understandable.
use your eyes, your special eyes.
Ha, specialized. Nice.
Look with your special eyes. I am coming up here. We're at pick 53. I think I'm clear to kind of, have some table talk, given the couple of people ahead of me. I like Kirk. I like Jaden Reed here. I like Marquise Brown. I am most likely going receiver. Anthony Richardson off the board, so I should get Kirk or Jaden Reed here. Probably going to go Kirk if I can. This last person is gone. Bijan, Taylor, Smith, Tank Dell. Kirk could be on their queue list. Let's take a see here. 14, 13, 12. Make a decision, Izzo. Do it. Do it now. Kirk called it. I am going to go. Oh, that's tough. That's tough. I wanted to go Jaden Reed, but you know what? I'm going to go with Joe Mixon instead. I'm going to get a little bulkier at running back and maybe just keep this this balance theme going here. Hall, Olave, Henry, Cup, Mixon. We'll see what receivers are waiting for me at pick 65. I'm guessing I'm going to find somebody that I like. I have a couple of names I'm looking at. A couple of names.
So I'm looking at the board here. A friend of the program, obviously, Team Ramrod. I like his start here. He got that Mahomes and Kelsey build. Obviously, I love Puka. I do think Puka's a little expensive though, and I'm the Puka guy, so take that with a grain of salt. But and I think it was you that put on Twitter, you were making fun of people who thought that Puka shouldn't be going here. I'm one of those people. I just think that he should be just a little bit back. Honestly, I mean, there's still Cooper Kupp there.
I can make arguments for Devontae Adams and maybe Stephon Diggs, but to me, that's it. Like, I mean, Garrett Wilson is a wash. I think that he should be ahead of Garrett Wilson, ahead of MHJ.
Who there does Puka beat out for targets? Does he beat out Wilson?
Garrett Wilson, I think he can. Yeah, I mean they've gotten a little bit deeper, and you also have Breece Hall there. Like they're going to put the ball into the ground.
I mean, I don't think he beats out Wilson. I don't think he beats out Brown. I don't think he beats out Adams. I also probably don't think he beats out Marvin Harrison. I know that's crazy to say. I also don't think he beats out Olave. London is the one that like maybe-ish because they have Bijan there, but I think Puka should probably be where Devontae Adams goes right here. That I think he should be about another 5 or 6 picks back, and I think that potentially that's where he could settle.
I don't hate that. I'm on the clock here. We're going receiver. I guess we'll go with Jaden Reed just because I was considering him last round. So a little bit of a fall there for him. ADP pick 50 or ADP 58, got him at pick 65. So I'll take that value. Also got Cooper Kupp after ADP as well, 6 picks after. So scooping up some of the leftovers from these big receiver runs. I don't hate that. And again, very balanced. 3 running backs, 3 receivers. I can work with this.
Yep. Man. Tell you what, wide receiver, it's fine right now, but it is it's gonna dry up a little bit here.
It's running. It's running right now. The meter is running. We saw Odunze going at ADP, a very good signal that you need to get a little bit more aggressive on receiver ADP, because if someone's getting him at cost and not after, they're getting thirsty. They're getting a little desperate. And that team, Izzo 3000, he went Bijan, Taylor, Smith, Dell, Kirk, Odunze. That doesn't make me love the Odunze pick, but it's nice that he's in a good group. I just don't love the group, honestly. Like Devontae Smith, not buried on the roster, going to get some decent usage, but a lot of threats to his production without an injury. Tank Dell, Buddy got shot. I'm like, hey, not everybody's Brian Robinson. I'm sure he'll be fine.
Wound.
Buddy got shot. Okay, let's just. I mean, don't try to sugarcoat it like you were doing Rashee Rice before this last incident. Okay, like. You were even going a little light on him at the top of the show. Like, it's not like the last incident. Like, it's bad. It's so bad.
I mean, it's not great, yeah, but it's not bad.
It's terrible. Either. It's terrible.
Oh man, oh man, oh man. And I'm gonna put my money where my mouth is here.
Okay.
I'll take Brian Thomas over your boy Keon.
I hope I can get Keon then, and we can just make this a thing. But Keon, he's like the 3rd best player left, and he's Bruni at ADP right now.
Getting called out here. Why didn't you take Rome? Chicago is going to be so good.
Go away, Ginder.
Do you care to address the people?
I have taken Rome. We just had a 45-minute discussion about not taking these rookies at ADP, specifically Rome Odunze, who's going 15 picks after ADP. Where were you, Ginder? That 45 minutes.
I like what Meg just did right there. Took Prescott, to pair up with CeeDee Lamb. I know that that's her best stack by far if you look at her team. I wonder, though, if she's going to, because she has a lot of options, as we alluded to, with the Chargers. She took Lad McConkey. I wonder if she's going to try to get Herbert in here and then maybe throw in Palmer or Rice or something at the end. I'll be interested to see which way she goes here.
I thought that Dak pick was interesting because the same exact thing happened to me earlier today. He went 10 spots ahead of ADP, and it drove me insane. And then I wanted Goff, and he went 5 picks ahead of ADP. I'm like, why? Why is it happening? It's okay. I got Caleb Williams, and like Ginder said, the Bears are going to be so good. Turd. We're going to go D-Hop here just because we're getting that run. We're getting that run. Let's get some established talent at the position. I am going to probably take running back next. Ginder, if you want to take 2 of those, that's fine because I'm just, this is my shit. Sorry, this is what I do. So you can take whoever you like here. If you want, you can steal Billy Latt's pick as well and take a 3rd. Maybe take DeAndre Swift. I hear the Bears are going to be good. They make a great T-shirt. The Bears are going to be good. Yeah, Kinder, pay attention, bro. Tell him, Jake. Swift going to the 12 team. Jalen Warren, 86. I like Jalen Warren in theory, but I think I might go. Oh, I can't say it out loud. Ginder's on the clock.
Oh,
yeah, he went James Conner. What a boomer. Oh, I guess I'm going to get the Tony Pollard stack. I've been getting a lot of Tony Pollard. He was just someone that I was high on the start of this offseason, whether he was staying with Dallas or he was going to be on the move. If he was going to be on the move, I assumed wherever he's going, they're going to use him well. And I like the idea of the Pollard Spears 1-2 punch. I mean, They're completely interchangeable. Their skill set mirrors each other, and I just feel like they're going to get both of them out in space. They're going to get pass catching opportunity, and
Ooh.
Pollard could still be the leader of the total touches.
I'm really thinking Meg in the 2 spot here with that Dallas stack. Was really hoping Ferguson fell there. Unfortunately, he does go already, so that was a shot at Megan right there. Yikes.
Yeah, that is a little bit of a shot, especially since the guy has no other Dallas players. Yeah, jerk.
Yeah,
Don't be such a jerk, buddy.
Hey, he might not be your buddy guy.
All right, pal. So after my Hopkins pick, we went Rashi Rice, a fair distance after ADP at pick 81. Ramondre to Ramrod, the old Gindernator. Najee Harris, Jackson Smith, and Jigba. Love him, but couldn't take him where he was ahead of D-Hop. Big run of running backs there. Piston Green, Swift, Warren, Connor, Zamir White, Tony Pollard, Tamois, Jake Ferguson, Christian Watson, Mostert. Love that value at pick 92. Jonathan Brooks, who we talked about earlier, Brock Bowers. That completes our top 9 flex players. I think Caleb is still on the board. So we're going to get into some more rookie talk once we clear Caleb here and see what pieces are left over that we might be interested in here.
You know what? I have 0 Caleb so far, and I do have DJ Moore. So it's a good as time as any to pull that trigger. Might as well, even though I do think that Purdy and Love outperform him in this year. But again, in best ball, you want to stack. This is why we have a ton of time to draft teams. This is why you draft a bunch of them so you can get different combinations. So I will stand behind, overall my rankings. But for the build, I will take Caleb. Now, what to do here is the interesting question. Think I am going to take Javonte Williams. I like Javonte a whole lot here.
Ooh.
Don't like Zach Moss. Trey Benson's behind Connor. Chubb's injured. I was also considering taking one of Eckler or Brian Robinson. Speaking of that, they go really similar. How do you think that the Washington backfield plays out? Is it a 50-50 split? Does one guy get more than the other guy? Is one guy going to be predominantly the goal line back? How do you feel about Washington's running backs?
Eckler between the 20s, Robinson in the red zone. You'll still probably see Robinson a fair amount in between the 20s, but I think that's the clear-cut role there. They're going to use up Eckler in space, and once they get down to that confined red zone, they're going to ground and pound it a little bit. But that doesn't mean that like Eckler won't get goal line carries. I mean, he's still really good on the line, very strong, got that like low center gravity build, awesome in that space still, even catching passes. So I just think there's a lot of opportunity for both of them because – again, you're going to have a quarterback that's running for his life, that's looking for the safety valve, that last second, look or check down to the running back. I just think both are in a good situation. I'll take both of them at cost or after. I prefer Eckler, of course, just based on the total skill set, what we've seen from him overall. And I'll probably take him right here if he's available. So.
Yeah, I was gonna say I like Eckler a little bit more as well, and I love B-Rob, but Eckler just his skill set's awesome. I mean, he used to be a first round pick in fantasy, right? Like he's a guy that they brought in for a reason, gave him a 2-year deal. I think that they are going to take everything that Eckler can handle, and put it on his plate, right? So I think that they're both fine as far as ADP is concerned. So I'm okay taking either one of them where they go, whichever one falls.
I lied. I took Mike Williams. Getting a little more jet stack.
You say yuck to Javonte Williams, and then you want to take the man that can't land on his feet and gets hurt every other play.
I'm a fan.
Disgusting.
I don't know what to tell you. I'm a fan. I'm a Mike Williams person. I'm one of his people. F you, Ginder.
You're a disciple.
F you. Yeah. I mean, I was a Keenan Allen guy too, and hey, well, he landed on my team. I don't hate it. It's a good situation. I like Mike Williams a lot. Athletic. He has the build to be like that big go up and get it type of player. And yeah, he does tend to get hurt sometimes. I also like Mike Thomas. Also likes to get hurt. What are you going to sue me? Yeah.
The question is, do you like Ezekiel Elliott?
I drafted a lot of Zeke last year, buddy.
Yikes.
A lot of Zeke last year.
Hate to hear
you know that. It was just a lead-in question. It was a lead-in question. You knew the answer. Don't even.
Dotson went right before Ginder. I know, Ramrod is a Penn State fan as myself, so I'm sure he was eyeing up Dotson there. Went right before him. Hate to see it.
It's what he gets for taking 3 running backs in a row.
Oh, and as I alluded to, Megan here was bummed that Ferg Daddy was sniped. I figured that she was eyeing that up, and just never came to fruition for her. Jake Paycon, I'm back on Javonte too. My man Jake, wasn't he consensus top 3 or 5 dynasty RB before the injury? Yeah, I would say he was probably top 5, right around that range. So go ahead, Bruni. Why do you hate him? Jake and I back on the Javonte train.
I'll take J.K. Dobbins. The
Yikes.
offense is going to run a lot.
Is that a board bet?
There's not going to be a rhyme or reason, and that is not a board bet. That is not a board bet. Get out of here. Get out of here. Just looking for easy wins. I see how it is, Andrew. I see how it is. Just trying to pick off the easy, low-hanging fruit.
Ginder said Dotson went 32 picks ahead of ADP.
And Ginder is on Team Jaleel. That doesn't make me feel any better about it. I mean, thanks, Ginder. Not doing much for us there. No help. But yes, I am on Team Jaleel as well. He's a more explosive player. Javonte is beaten up. He took on some miles last year that he didn't need to. The team's going to be bad. They're going to cut up the touches. There won't be a rhyme or reason to Sean Payton because he just wants to look smart. If we're going to be bad, I at least want to look kind of good. Like, he was trying to be bad last year, and Russell Wilson was like, no, it's actually working. It's not that bad. Look at my numbers. And they're like, no, sit down. I'm trying to do something weird here. Like that guy, what's that comedian's name? Where he pulls up to the drive-thru and he's like, yeah, I want to pay for the guy behind me. Maybe he'll pay it forward too. And he yells at the other car, I'm trying to do something here. I'm trying to do a thing.
All right, so I'm going to take B-Rob there. And then, oh, man, interesting. I don't know. So how far ahead is ADP on Coleman? He's 134. I'm at 121. That's 13 ahead. So that's a round. I don't know. I want to miss out on that because there's not a lot of stacking options with Chicago. So I think I'm going to do that, even though there's some other guys there, but I do want the stack. So
Gerald Everett, baby. Let's ride. Gerald Everett.
I don't know. I still believe in the athleticism of Cole Kmet over Cole Kmet over Everett.
You had to second guess yourself because you were like, wait a second, Gerald Everett, and then you pictured that massive athletic body.
So you're talking about Donald Parham?
Stop. Everett plays for the Bears now. Parham plays behind Hayden Hurst.
Yes.
Behind.
True story.
Behind. Shoop with Josh Palmer. Love that pick. Love that consecutive round 10, 11 stack, as we alluded to earlier. And she got Lad McConkey up front. She's doing it right.
Yeah, exactly. This is what I was hoping that she would do based off of, how she was drafting and what she took up top there with McConkey. So I don't know if I gave her the idea or if she already had it, but well done.
Doot. What do I want to do here? I'm very interested in 2 players in particular. One player I was very high on last year, had to take a little slack on it, But I think I'm going to do it again here. I think I'm going to make it happen. I have not drafted this position yet. Let's see if Izzo is going to snipe me on it. Any thoughts here on this last couple of rounds, 9 through 11? I know we haven't been keeping up pick by pick. He did take Rashid Shaheed, so that made my decision a little bit easier. It was between him and Dalton Schultz. Dalton Schultz was a guy I was on immensely last year. And I got a lot of slack for it because he made less money than most punters in the NFL last year. And some thought that that was going to equate to not doing much on the field.
Yeah, I would say my biggest takeaway here, if you look at the board, is how many quarterbacks go in this range between 8 and 11. There's what, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's 9. Yep. So I mean that kind of tells you how people are building teams, right? Getting their guys up top, looking for the stacks in between 8 and 11, and then going for it. So that's my biggest takeaway, is just how many quarterbacks go in this range.
Yeah, absolutely. And these are very affordable options. If you're even starting off with Goff or Cousins, you can easily still put them into good 2 QB builds, but I think they're perfect for 3 QB builds still. But regardless, where you're starting off versus the guys at the top of the board in round 3, 4, it's a huge value and a great means to build up good rosters. You just have to hit on those guys. That's it. I did it a lot last year with Aaron Rodgers, and of course I missed. He played a couple of snaps and he was gone. So drafting a ton of Aaron Rodgers wasn't amazing, but had that gone opposite, it would have been, that 38 out of 150 could have been 45, 42. So every little bit of value matters always.
Yes.
I'm up here in less than a handful of picks. Jerry Jeudy just off the board. Saw a couple of Cleveland players there, back-to-back, Jerome Ford, Jerry Jeudy. Ginder goes Matthew Stafford. I am going Aaron Rodgers there. Ginder thought he was cool, blocking me from Cup. It's all right. I do this. I wake up. I have to drive an hour somewhere. You know what I'm doing? Doing a draft. It's not every morning.
So we had this comment back a while from Jake here. He said, shout out Bruni for the Mooney call out. I've noticed a lot of people taking him now. It does look like Mooney is going to be coming up here in the next round and a half. And any particular thoughts on Mooney? I know you're a Bears fan and he came from the Bears. So, everyone take this with a grain of salt from Bruni, but
watch the tape. You don't need a Bears opinion on it. I mean, he was buried last year behind DJ Moore, still coming back from injury, and he needs a type of quarterback like a Kirk Cousins that can just throw him open, that can complete some long shots downfield. It doesn't mean that Kirk Cousins won't throw his fair share of interceptions targeting Darnell Mooney, but having a guy that can really sling it, who's far more accurate than the quarterbacks he's been dealing with, he can easily get 80-plus catches this year. He could get 80 catches on 100 targets, no problem. This is going to be a much, much better offense. They're going to pass the ball as well as run it a lot, but expect just as much PPR work for Bijan this year. He had 58 catches as a rookie, so that number can go up. You're going to have a number 2 guy emerging out of Mooney, and there won't be a rhyme or reason for coverage or pressing guys when you're playing alongside an elite young receiver like Drake London and an up-and-comer like Kyle Pitts. It's a very good situation. The reason why people need to be in on him is because Atlanta's also kind of dumb for not drafting Rome Odunze. If they had drafted Rome Odunze, Darnell Mooney would be in round 16, 15. He would have no pulse whatsoever, wouldn't be on anyone's radars. Them passing up receiver at that spot and going quarterback, hugely irresponsible, one for the best ball community, but for their franchise. It was a complete oversight.
Well, good. I'm glad that you talked him up there because this is somebody I haven't really taken a lot of, and I do take what you say to heart a little bit. I actually like Mooney, so I agree with you. I'm going to go ahead and take Mooney here because I need some wide receiver help. Though I was considering Quentin Johnston here, and Roman Wilson and Michael Wilson, liked both the Wilson brothers down there. I don't think they are actually brothers, though, are they?
No.
Okay. How about brothers with Mr. Wilson?
I don't think so.
No, Dennis the Menace? All right.
Mr. Wilson. Let's see here. So I finally tapped tight end and QB. I'm at 1,551. The balance is with me. Not to be confused with the force. I'm not sure what I want to do here. I'm wide open. I've got all the options. I've put myself in a friendly scenario here, and I just don't know what I want. I'm done at running back. I don't need any more running back, so we can rule that out. I'm thinking about potentially Luke Musgrave or making a decision that you're really not gonna like.
And why would I not like this?
You don't like the player. I think I might let Ginder pick him because Ginder's like been thinking
Michael Thomas.
He thinks he's smart right now, and it's not really gonna matter what he does because he thinks he's clipping me on some of these picks. It's not happening, Ginder. It's not happening. So I'm gonna take Luke Musgrave, just kind of back up the tight end position a little bit. I might get some Conklin with him as well. I like Musgrave in year 2, and that's also pairing him up with my Jaden Reed pick, a little friendship stack there. So I don't hate that.
So I want to ask you, how much is too much stacking for you? The reason I ask is Megan could have took Quentin Johnston. She did not, but she already had McConkey and she has Palmer. So is that too much for you?
I think where you really want to cap it is probably 4 guys, and it's most preferred 1 at each position. If you get the 1 QB, the 1 running back, the 1 receiver, and the 1 tight end, From a team, I think that is where you want to cap it. Now, that's a very much do as I say, not as I do, because I just love to have fun and just build up these massive stack teams. And again, that's really more for my entertainment. That might be a less than EV way to be drafting, but when you're going through 150 of these, you just got to have some fun. You got to let it rip. And like doing that Bears build that I did, I overdid it. Okay, I overdid it. I took all 3 receivers. I'm not going to say plus EV. I don't think. I think you want to land the guy, not try to mix and mingle the 3, especially when you only pick 7 receivers. That wasn't probably best, right? And 2 of the other receivers were Dolphins. I also took those 3 Bears receivers with Hill and Waddle as well. So, I mean, I think the 4 max is good. I think 3 is probably ideal.
Okay.
And I took Adam Thielen at a little bit better value. That's who I was considering there.
Meg does say that's her favorite build. Quarterback, running back, wide receiver, tight end. Didn't work in this one, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to target it if you want like a very efficient way to stack. But I don't know. I'd have to look at past winners. I don't know if any of the past winners have had that stacking where you've had 1, 2, 3, 4 at each position.
What do you think about if we get, let's see, we're currently sitting at 217 subscribers. Once we get to let's say 300, is 300 a good number? 350?
What do you want me to do? Take my shirt off? What are you trying to get?
No,
get at
I was gonna say, what if we draft together 3 or 4 teams at the exact same time? Have just a mega crazy draft time on here live.
How would we do that?
We just draft together on the same screen, obviously.
But 4 drafts?
Yeah, like you and I draft the exact same team, like drafting a team together, but like 4 drafts at the same time.
I mean, how do we take turns getting one draft on the board versus another?
What do you mean? There'll be tabs at the top that you can flip between your drafts.
I can try, yeah. I mean,
okay.
It's intense. It's intense. Can they just be all your teams? I'll take a 10% cut.
Well, I mean, maybe we do on like Chihuahuas or something. We'll just do a bunch of drafts though.
How about when we get to 300, we do our first cardio draft?
Well, if the cardio draft's not out, I guess we could practice, right?
We can do a cardio draft tomorrow if we want. We don't have to wait.
That's true. That's true. You're right.
Oh, and then he takes J.K. Dobbins.
I mean, he was kind of just sitting there, and I needed a running back, so don't
this
give me
comment is at you. It says, "Shout out Bruni for taking the GOAT receiver," referring to Adam Thielen. You had to take some big L's on that. You settled down on Chase Claypool. You were just out of bounds on Adam Thielen. You were held in contempt like Trump in court. Like you were going after the jury. You were sending personal notes and letters.
Yeah, Adam Thielen is terrible, and I forget. Remind me, because we were doing podcasts together last year. Did I tell people to sell Adam Thielen before he dropped off, or what? I can't remember that right.
That's not a best ball conversation. I mean, you want me to tote every redraft win that I had last year? My goodness.
I'm just saying that I was pointing out that he was going to fall off a cliff at some point.
No, you called it. You called the fall off the shelf. Well done. But you're also very, very in your own opinion there. I mean, you're just like, oh, it can't last. Oh, it can't last. And you were right. It didn't.
Yeah, let's just take a look at his game log if you want to try to lap on me here. Week 1, 1.2 points. Oh, I'm sorry. Hold on. This is standard. Let's go to half point PPR. So week 1, 2.2 points. Then he went on a run of 5 weeks in a row above 11. Week 8 was 11, and that's where it fell off. Then 2 more times above 11. Everyone else was sub 10. Actually, sub 8.
Let me look at my advanced rate.
Would you say that was a good finish for him, or
it was a lot higher than you were going to have him at? That's for sure. That's a fact.
Sure, yeah. I mean, if you want to draft a guy that can only perform half the season, then by all means, take Adam Thielen.
At his ADP,
you also like Michael Thomas, so I don't want to hear
at his ADP. that is a perfectly acceptable method because you don't need a top 10 finish out of them. Not everyone is going to draft Puka Nacua or Kyrene Williams in the last few rounds. You're going to have the outliers. Those guys are. But a very nice median finish, I can deal with that. 9 of 24. I took 24 shares. 9 of them made it to the playoffs. So that
he really helped you in the playoffs.
37 to get me there. It's all about getting there. Stop it. You stop it.
I'm just making the point of, I mean, guys on the wrong side of 30 tend to not be guys. They're going to give you a ton of spike weeks. Adam Thielen also has some competition now. Better competition.
No, I like taking Deontay and Thielen at or after their ADP. So I'm going to continue to do it. You won't
let me know what
stopping.
You let me know who you want to board bet against Adam Thielen this year.
Okay. That will be a thing. Let's see here.
Ooh, I like that. So Jake says chat decides team 4 stack. If we do a bunch of drafts.
Hang on a second. I didn't catch that. Where are we at? 185. I don't want to take Luke McCaffrey yet. We'll go with I'm gonna bring up nope. Just took my pick for me. Geno Smith. Ouch. I was about to double tap Devontae Walker again. He is a later round rookie that I really like. Someone who definitely has that type of like Puka, Rashi Rice type of role where they can easily get in on production. I might take four quarterbacks here. I really don't want Geno Smith naked, so that'll teach you kids. Have something skewed up there. I should have just taken Devontae Walker or Tyler Boyd ahead of ADP because I'm perfectly fine with that. That's what I should have done, especially since I just had Levis and I already have Tony Pollard. We'll live to fight another day.
Yes.
Sure.
Yeah.
Maybe. Don't mind my receivers, though. Olave, Kupp, Reed, Hopkins, Williams, and Thielen. Again, this is the time where I want to get some more experienced guys. I still see the public moving up Thielen up the board here ahead of Malachi Corley, Troy Franklin, Roman Wilson, Michael Wilson, Jalen Polk, Dontavian Wicks, even Quentin Johnston and Mooney. Like the public will move him up once more of the less sickos of the culture get involved with the drafts here. You're more casuals.
Yeah. Oh man. You know what? I don't have any Keaton Mitchell, and I'm going to do it with the Baltimore stack. But that does pigeonhole me. I feel of not taking Devontae Walker because I already have Bateman and Andrews along with Lamar now as well. So I think
like Walker to take over Bateman's role. That's me. I've never been a buyer of Rashad Bateman. I mean,
I just don't know I can do that with this build. That's too much at that point. So I'm going to take Javon Baker here.
I agree with you. I would have preferred Walker over Bateman, and you just got somebody else at the Bateman pick. But
yep,
I don't necessarily love all the guys that went there though. Like I like Marvin Mims. That's not bad. But DeMarcus Robinson, Luke McCaffrey. That's tough.
So here's a conversation I just had with Jake Wiles in the chat the other day. Was we were talking about guys at the end of drafts that you're taking, looking at your build, taking guys that either fit a stack or something of that nature. The issue I have with taking guys at the end is, so like right now, if you look at my tight ends, I have Mark Andrews and Cole Kmet. Do you think I need a third one? Just starting there, yes or no?
No, you're good. I need a third one. I have Dalton Schultz and Luke Musgrave.
Yes, I would say you need a third one. I agree. I don't need a second or a third one. A lot of people, though, like to take 3 tight ends just to have 3 tight end build, just in case they get injured, whatever the case. My issue is, let's say nobody gets hurt. How many of these tight ends that are left are actually going to score me points throughout the year? I mean, other than Michael Mayer and maybe Knox, I don't really see anyone here that I think could actually get me points in any given week. With that said,
Chig at 181, he's back there.
Yeah, but he's not left now.
Okay, all right. So you're saying purely only in the last 2 rounds?
Yeah. Like
Okay,
last
okay.
2 round guys.
So some
I
names
just don't.
that go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say though, it's not about like the question's not for you to tell me what tight end you think I should take. It's that, do you agree with the build thought of why take a guy just to fill out a spot because you think there could be
Mhm.
injuries, and if there isn't injuries, they're not going to score you points. Like, right, you're not going to take a guy. I don't think you should take a guy in the last 2 rounds that is going to score you no points. I would
Mhm.
rather take a positional guy and running back or wide receiver that I think could potentially score me points, even without injury. Do you agree with
Yeah,
that
no,
sentiment?
I agree with you for sure.
Okay.
But I also believe that there are guys back here that are under the radar right now that just no one's talking about. Greg Dulcich, Kyle Granson is an Indianapolis Colt tight end that I like. Um, we've already brought up Michael Mayer. That's a very easy stack between him and Minshew in round 17 and 18. I definitely like doing that. But I hear your argument for sure. I mean, when I'm looking at some of these names, there's definitely some handcuffs. There's definitely some receivers that I really like. And there goes Devontae Walker to me. Great value that I love. I just talked about him being a player that has an opportunity to be a top 2 receiver in the offense. Zay Flowers isn't like a huge physical threat, so he's a good candidate. The person before me went Chase Claypool. God bless you. Been there, done that. Good luck to you.
Yeah.
DJ Chark, a guy that could have a few spike weeks. Tank Bigsby, one of the better handcuffs behind Travis Etienne, an offense that's going to run the ball a lot. Etienne goes down. That's a huge opportunity. Jalen Hyatt, if the offense is better. Jalen Tolbert, if Brandon Cooks takes a step back. That's a good value right there. So, yeah, there's definitely some options here. There really isn't a position that I won't draft back here. You
So
have quarterbacks available. You have
yeah.
Bryce Young going. That's the very good value. You have Derek Carr going. That can be a good third quarterback for you. Gardner Minshew, I just mentioned, bringing him back to a round 2 stack with Devontae Adams. I love that. Not a lot of trust in Aiden O'Connell right now. And at the tight end, like I said, there's a couple of guys that I think are worthy of that third tight end type of flyer.
Yeah, and as Jake's saying here in the chat, he said we also talked about don't take a guy just to complete a stack if he is going to be a
Mhm.
non-point scorer. Like
Yeah.
that's my point is there's no reason to take a guy that is going to score you no points. You might as well take an upside here. Tank Bigsby is here. I also want to give a shout out to Ginder. We were talking to him on the phone as well. He pointed out Evan Hall's going like free in these. He's probably going to be the backup to Jonathan Taylor. Jonathan Taylor has shown to be injured. If
Mhm.
so, Evan Hall is a good guy. I'm going to take Bigsby here, but I do think Evan Hall is a good shout out for a last round guy that could potentially have a role in an offense, whether there's an injury or not. But if Jonathan Taylor goes down, Evan Hall, may be a very good call out there because if you look at their depth chart, they don't really have
Mhm.
anybody of note outside of those 2 guys.
All right, so let's take a look at the board. Do you just want to go round by round? Do you want to do team by team? How do you want to do the
Let,
breakdown here?
let's do team by team. We'll go
Okay.
just through. Let's go through our 4 teams. And just kind of take a look at them. Do the grading, and then if we want, we can kind of circle back and look at other teams and how they made a build if we want. But I guess since I'm first up, I might as well go. So my team is quarterbacks Lamar Jackson and Caleb Williams, running backs CMC, Javonte Williams, Brian Robinson, J.K. Dobbins, Keaton Mitchell, and Tank Bigsby. Wide receivers Mike Evans, DJ Moore, Jordan Addison, Brian Thomas Jr., Josh Downs, Darnell Mooney, Rashad Bateman, and Javon Baker. Tight ends Mark Andrews and Cole Kmet. So I waited 96 picks to take a second running back and still like the running back core I got.
Mhm.
I took 2 wide receivers back to back and then waited 50 picks to take 2 more back to back. So I probably should have taken another wide receiver in that and maybe not taken Williams. Probably could have did something else there, but I did stack Baltimore with I got Jackson, Mitchell, Bateman, and Andrews. Don't mind that. And then
Mhm.
Caleb Williams and the Bears took DJ Moore and Cole Kmet. So again, do not mind that. I like the team 2682 build. That's my bread and butter right there. So I love taking the straight across the board as 2682. I feel like that's as
Mhm.
balanced as you can be. So do like my team. What do you think?
No, I like it as well. Of course, I'm gonna like the bear stacks. I mean, hello. You have CMC, always a great start. And like we said earlier, pairing him up with Lamar Jackson, always a good thing. You're constantly getting 2 players right out of the gate, regularly in the top 5 scoring week in and week out. Backing that up with guys like Mike Evans and DJ Moore, who are known for very big spike weeks. The depth at receiver is interesting. Obviously, I'm bigger on like the Keon Coleman versus Brian Thomas. All good there. But I liked how you mixed it up with Josh Downs. We talked about him earlier, showing that he was valuable in year 1. Everyone's kind of running to a Donnie Mitchell. I think that Josh Downs could be the sneaky play there, and you got him after ADP, so always good. Don't mind taking Mooney ahead of ADP. Obviously, I'm a lot higher on him. Bateman, that far ahead of ADP, I think is more just, by the situation. We just had a crazy run at that point on receivers, backed up by Javon Baker, somebody that I was considering at that glitchy Geno Smith pick, but I was able to actually back that up, so I'm actually okay with that. I'm not sure what to make out of the New England receiver situation. I like the idea of Baker and Polk, but I also really like the idea of KJ Osborne going for free. I don't believe KJ Osborne was even drafted in this go here that we just had. So some affordability there. And yeah, 2 really good tight ends in Andrews and Kmet. Kmet situation should be better just because they should be in the scoring territory more so. He may come down a little bit on the total amount of catches, but I think his touchdowns can go up. And obviously that's really important in a half-point PPR.
Okay, good deal. I'll
give you an 8.
I appreciate that. I'll take a B any day. Let's look at Megan's team in the 2 slot. She went 3-5-7-3 on the build. Dak Prescott, Justin Herbert, and Russell Wilson. Straight out of the gate, Prescott and Herbert. I like those 2 quarterbacks a lot. Russell Wilson's a fine guy to take at the end as well. Don't hate that. Running backs, Kyron Williams, Rashad White, Zach Moss, Ty Chandler, and Kamani Vidal. I'm not much of a Williams guy. Like I said, I'd rather take Corum, but she got him 3 picks past ADP. He's been falling, since BBM came out. So I think she got him at a fair, a fair spot there. And then I love Rashad White. There's nothing that's really changed for him in this offense. So I will take that all day. And then her other running backs, are nice fillers as well. I do really like Ty Chandler. I think he has a good opportunity to work behind Aaron Jones, and Aaron Jones is shown to get injured. So, that's somebody that she might have get slotted in due to injury as well. Wide receivers, CeeDee Lamb, Jalen Warren, George Pickens, Ladd McConkey, Jamison Williams, Josh Palmer, and Luke McCaffrey. And tight ends, Pat Freiermuth, Tyler Conklin, Jatavian Sanders, sorry. Wide receivers are good. She has a good core 3 there. And then, I'm a big Jamison Williams guy, especially in best ball. That is a primo best ball pick right there because you never know when to start him. And in best ball, you don't have to. So I really like that as well. How do you feel about Meg's team?
Pretty good. Really like the receivers, the running backs. I think you got some lottery tickets there with those last couple of picks in Chandler and Vidal. Good handcuffs, but you may have to wait for the cake to rise there. Quarterbacks also very good. Good depth, adding in Russell Wilson. We don't know what we're going to get out of Herbert, so I do like backing him up just because the offense could become very run heavy. I kind of would have liked Gus Edwards mixed in there, maybe over Chandler, over Vidal, but I still think that works. I think that the stack should be solid, especially like Vidal for like potential week 16, 17, 18. Guys like Gus Edwards and J.K. Dobbins ahead of him. Those are dominoes that can fall, faster than some other running backs in the league. So I don't hate that. Tight ends, we need some work, but hey, I need some work on my tight ends too. I'm going to go 7.
Okay, yeah, I'm going to give her a 7.9.
Okay, all right.
Let's shift over to you. You were next up there. Looks like, here, if you want to go ahead and do your team.
Yeah, so we got Aaron Rodgers, got a nice little Jets build here. Will Levis, Geno Smith, Breece Hall, Derrick Henry, Joe Mixon, Tony Pollard, Devin Singletary, power running back. Some decent values here. Most are at ADP. Henry at pick 32, Mixon 55 versus 56, Pollard 92 versus 89. All of those guys like right at ADP, weaving and bobbing out of the receiver avalanches. And then for receiver, we have Olave, Cooper Kupp, Jaden Reed, well after ADP, he went pick 65 versus his 58. Same with Cup. He went at 41 versus his 35. Hopkins, we pulled up a little bit. He was at pick 80 versus his 84. Williams at ADP. Adam Thielen, actually before, unfortunately, ADP, 5 picks ahead. But we got Devontae Walker well after. He was at pick 209 versus his ADP of 197. Dalton Schultz, Luke Musgrave, and Noah Fant all pretty much at ADP. Noah Fant went 9 picks after. I just brought him into my 3 quarterbacks with Geno, as we didn't get to the mouse fast enough. I'm going to give myself a 7, I would say. I need work done at running back, or sorry, not running back, at tight end. Running back is very good. That's probably my strongest group, but I really don't hate my receivers. I'm just going to need really top end results from the top guys. Like, I get it. You can't expect Adam Thielen to carry you to the finals, but he is a good piece to move the needle for your advance rates, in my opinion, at his value, because I definitely see him going up at least 30 to 35 picks. So yeah, I give myself a good 7.
Good 7. All right. Yeah, I mean, I don't mind it. You have obviously
A 7 I like.
3-5-7-3 build. That's completely fine with the running back core that you have of Hall and Henry, Mixon, Pollard. Like your running backs, I feel like your running backs are probably going to be your flex more often than not in this.
Oh,
which
absolutely.
In this scenario with UD being half point PPR and heavy on touchdowns, I think that's actually not a bad strategy to go. You filled in wide receiver nicely here. Obviously, I'm not a Thielen guy, but Devontae Walker, that could be, a very boom bust pick. Mike Williams, same ordeal. I think that's more of a boom bust kind of pick. Hopkins is nice and safe, consistent. Love that. Reed is Deebo Samuel light, so I'm fine with Reed as your third as well. Love Olave and Cup, and the tight ends, Schultz, Musgrave, and Fant. It's going to get pieced together, I feel. Obviously, Schultz is probably going to score 80% of your points at tight end, in an ideal situation here. But Musgrave and Fant can get you some numbers, on any given week as well. I'm interested, speaking of Musgrave, it's an interesting camp battle for me to watch between him and Kraft, because Kraft was good when he was on the field last year. So I'm not saying Musgrave's in trouble to lose the job or anything, but we might see a closer split than people realize between Musgrave and, and Kraft on how much time they're on the field. So I'm going to give you a 7.7. I do like this. I would have liked to see a little bit more stacking on some of these options, but again, I think overall a pretty decent team.
Yeah, I mean, each tight end is stacked. I don't have a stack for each receiver, but I also got sniped on Derek Carr. Not great. I would have taken 4 QB. I wasn't scared of it.
Mm-hmm. Last but not least, Team Ramrod. So he went he has a 2-6-7-3 build. QB Patrick Mahomes and Matt Stafford. Pretty solid QB room there. Running backs Ramondre Stevenson, James Conner, Austin Eckler, Blake Corum, Tyler Algier, and Roshan. That's not a bad running back tandem or core. I don't love Steven, to be honest with you, this year. It's not somebody I'm going to draft a whole lot of. Same thing with Connor. I don't love that, but the duo of them should give you good numbers, on a weekly basis between the two of them. I like Eckler and Corum a lot, so I love those picks. And then obviously Roshan's great, and Algier. It's interesting, with a new coordinator there. How are they going to do the Bijan Algier tandem this year? Obviously, last year I think we saw a little bit more of Algier than I think we're going to this year. So, yet to see with that. Wide receivers: Puka Nacua, Devontae Adams, Xavier Worthy, Marquise Brown. So we double tapped KC wide receivers there. That's interesting. Jacoby Myers, Michael Wilson, and Tyler Boyd. Not a bad wide receiver room. I would have liked, another wide receiver there, to be honest. Maybe not the Davis Allen pick, but I know why he did it. Obviously stacking with Stafford, but tight ends, Kelsey, Likely, and Allen. I think a lot of this is going to fall on Kelsey, which, in an ideal world, Kelsey is your leading point scorer in your tight end room. So I think that's fine. But I think Kelsey would have been fine with just Likely, honestly, because again, I don't think Davis Allen's going to put up a ton of points. I like Davis Allen, but I don't think he's going to put up a ton of points over Kelsey. So again, maybe a potential non-point scorer. But overall, not a bad team, stacked decently well. Yeah, I'm gonna give this a 7.8, 7.9, somewhere in there.
No, it's way lower than that. It's like under 2.
Really?
No,
Under
just
2.
kidding. No, he Ginder
How do you feel about
said he graded my team 1.8. There's no way I can
Oh,
say
yikes.
anything nice now. I mean, 2, 6, 7, 3. I think I swap out the third tight end for another receiver. I like that. I think you said that as well. And I don't know. I guess Blake Corum, he's going to help out the stack a little bit here. We got the Davis Allen with Stafford as well. Yeah, I'll give him a 7.5. I mean, he did a better job than me, objectively.
All right. Well done. Any other news or notes to bring up about the draft here? Anything else you want to talk about?
Just kind of rolling through just some of the rounds quickly here, just looking for anything.
If you stop
that
right there and look
out.
at this image, look at all those wide receivers. This is a prime
a
example of why people need to take wide receivers early, because I mean, look at all that. And then I bet you if you scroll down to 8 to 14, whatever you can see, we're going to see a lot more running backs and quarterback tight end tandems, going there. So just again, for everyone listening, if you don't already do this, make sure you're grabbing enough wide receivers in the first 6, 7 rounds that you don't need to worry about picking and choosing guys, below. You can take guys that are going to have more opportunities up top here.
And notate that when that happens, you can get these little runs or later runs on QB. That's how Andrew was able to grab Lamar Jackson and Mark Andrews at the 4 or 5 turn. Typically, Jackson's going to go a handful of picks ahead of that. So you lean into that. You say, okay, here's an avalanche. Here's a run of a position. How can I benefit off of this now? And you look at those little opportunities after ADP, and you flip the script. I'm just rolling through some of the rounds here. I just want to see if anything stands out. There's really no picks that are like daunting where I'm just like, why is that person going in this range? I still think that Brian Thomas ahead of guys like Deontay Johnson, still Godwin, Hopkins. I think that's a misstep. Even Jamison Williams, who I know that you like, but that's a lot of names for him to be going ahead of. And I know that you took him. I'm not picking on you, but I like a lot of these other guys ahead. Or after his ADP, I should say. You picked Brian Thomas Jr.
Oh, yes. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was saying those guys I like ahead of him: Deontay, DeAndre, Godwin, Jamison Williams. Personally, me, Jackson Smith, and Jigba, I still really like too, but it's kind of a similar situation. Maybe there's one less mouth to feed. There was a good run of running backs here in round 8, so I think that might be an identifiable shelf that maybe you don't want to miss. Like if you're needing running back help and you're looking at like round 6 or 7 and you're like, you know what, I only have 2 guys or 3 guys that I really like. I think it's time to really look for that last ditch effort in those 7, 8, 9 rounds. Just because we're seeing a pretty big drop off there. I don't hate round 10 in like Gus Edwards, Tajay Spears, even Chase Brown. Those are very good multi-running back situations to still be involved in. I still think that the Titans pass a lot. I think Edwards just being back in that Greg Roman offense, he's going to get work, but those other guys in Dobbins and Vidal are going to keep him in check. Like there won't be a guy that's just like the dog there. And then it's a clear in a way they're gone, right? Like Zach Charbonnet, Dowdle, Elliott, you're taking your picks there. Ford, who is a good round 12 pick, but he may not be great all season long, could have a very similar drop off to Adam Thielen last year. Is there anything here that you want to point out?
No, I don't think so, man. I mean, it's mainly at the top is kind of what I wanted to point out about all the wide receivers and then how the running backs go, just so people can kind of get a good idea of this is what you should expect in sharper rooms, in BBM. So, draft accordingly and don't be afraid to wait on some guys. Every now and again, you'll get those guys that fall and you can get the ADP value on them. So if you can be an ADP value hound, do so. But yeah, man, it's been fun as always. And for people who don't know, we will be doing this every single Thursday night, live drafts. Make sure you get in there with us so we can do this all over again. We'll have new segments coming in. We'll have Cardio Club when that gets released. We will be doing all of our Cardio Club drafts live here. Then you can get in. If you guys don't know what Cardio Club is, BBM 2 years ago released Cardio Club, where you have to be drafting while doing cardio, whether that's on a bike, on a treadmill, on a taking a walk, whatever the case may be. So those details will be coming out probably, I don't know, in the next month. I would assume they're going to probably drop that. So keep a lookout for that, as well as we will be bringing on exciting guests. Won't say anybody's name yet, but I think we have a pretty decent lineup to get on the show. So stay tuned. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. If you haven't already, like, subscribe, share with friends. Get at us both on Twitter and or X, whatever you want to call. What are you, Best Ball Bruni, right? At Best Ball Bruni.
Yes, sir. That's
At
me
Best
at
Ball
Best Ball
Bruni
Bruni.
and at a Rob 23. It's been a pleasure as always.
Yep. In the streets, I go by the old JM Bruni. If you're catching me in a lobby, and this guy, you're under the TD King now on Underdog.
TD King 23. Yes, sir. Yep. That's me all day.
I'm gonna use a shake weight for Cardio Club.
Oh, okay.
It's funny when the people taking shots were like, what, miles behind me on the bike, and I was drinking beer at the same time. Like, please.
That is true. You did cardio, beer, and draft. So that
you guys are like, how many miles have you gone? I'm like, I'm at like 18. You're like, we're at like 9. How are you that far? I don't know. Because I don't have a Peloton. I guess I have a Boomer bike. I don't need a Wi-Fi on my exercise machine. I just come from a different time. I don't know what to tell you. Sure. Yeah, hit us up on the X, on Twitter at Best Ball Bruni, at ARob23. We've got all sorts of good stuff for you. If you just want to cut it up, talk some ball, schedule a time to come in and do some drafts, or even get advice from us, just hit us up anytime. We will see you next Thursday. Look out for updates and all sorts of good stuff from the FanSpeak Network. I think we have like live drafts going like, was it Tuesday through Friday? Megan will be back tomorrow night with Friends of Best Ball, so look out for that. FanSpeak's got your back in the best ball streets.
Yeah, and they have rookie profile stuff coming out, right? Or have been out. Yes.
They've been doing by position, like featuring rookies by position. So tonight we just did the top 10 rookies per their ADP. If you want to dive in a little bit deeper, go down the rabbit hole with Megan and Steve. They're going position by position, and they're getting into the weeds a little bit more. And we'll be doing the same going forward as we start talking a little bit more about the later rounds in the upcoming episodes. But tonight, we definitely saw in our drafts that these rookies are very relevant right now. So it was very important for us to get ahead of that, I should say.
Yep. Yes, most certainly. Thank you once again, everyone, for joining. Really, really, really appreciate it.
Yep. Take care. Be well. Be good. If you can't be good at it. We'll see you.